anxiously. So tell I made it pretty far, all things considered. Thanks for your applause. Still every time I close the door and another won't open, I get this panic that my life is now on pause. The dark gets cleared, the board's been cleaned, there's nothing left on my screen. The plate is empty, so it seems. Now is the time to ask, okay, what's next? This was fun while it lasted, nothing comes till you ask it. So I'd really like to know what's next. Around the corner, down the street, whatever's meant for me to meet, I'm waiting for it anxiously. So tell me please, what's next? Daunting, thanks, I know. Silently it's haunting me and I'd like it to go. See, I could be 103 and still moving slow, full of promise and potential till my eyes finally close. But I got time, got years and years, work to do, but I got fears, and there's a ringing in my ears. So still I gotta ask, okay, what's next? This was fun while it lasted, nothing comes till you ask it. So I'd really like to know what's next. Around the corner, down the street, whatever's meant for me to meet, I'm waiting for it anxiously. So tell me please, what's next?
Hello, everyone. I think this is working. It looks like Facebook has once again changed their algorithms or changed their group settings. My apologies. Running about a half hour late. Gonna just do a quick show today. It looks like it's streaming. Good morning to my team. Happy New Year. 2022 has arrived. Yeah, kind of tough start for 2022. Again, technology, you got to be patient with technology. And let me stop share audio here. Let me just test the audio, make sure everything's running. It's a new year. Okay, so it looks okay. Let's see if that makes a difference. Let me just test the audio, make sure everything's running. It's a new year. Okay, yeah, okay. So I do all my own tech. I don't have anybody that does the tech for me, so I always have to troubleshoot the tech, the permissions, Facebook, Zoom. And this morning, with the delay, I was going to talk about a few things for 2022. I'm going to talk to you real quick about what 2022 means from a numerology standpoint. As a numerologist, I work with numbers. I work with patterns and trends. Some of you might call it the matrix. It was funny this weekend while we were doing our New Year's, we had a matrix situation where literally was like a glitch in the matrix. We had a cleaning lady we were up on the 4th floor. We got in the elevator, went down to the 3rd floor. The elevator opened, and the same lady that was up on the 4th floor was helping a lady on the 3rd floor. And we all kind of looked at each other. There's about 5 of us in the elevator, and we're like, okay, there's no way she could have got down that quick. And if she did, she was fast. But we were joking. I'm like, yep, there's a glitch in the matrix. But I look at patterns, I look at trends. And this morning I was going to talk about what 2022, sorry, more coffee, what 2022, kind of is hard to say off if 2020 just kind of rolls, and we all want to forget 2020, right? Hindsight is 2020. I think somebody came up with that because they knew that was going to be a pretty messed up year. But I'm experiencing problems with Zoom because as of right now, Zoom is saying that there's an error with permissions. And so I apologize when I was coming on. It was trying to stream to my personal page. If you guys want to share out the page, that would be awesome, be fantastic. Thank you so much. But this is Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, the first show for 2022. Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining me. I took the month of December off. We're going to be talking today for about 20 minutes. There will be no after show today. I was going to call it the New Year Cafe. We'll do that next Monday. Because I'm already booked out for readings, guys. I'm already booked out into February, and I have my first reading here that I have to get ready for. I have 2 readings today that I have to get ready for. So, but we'll be back. We'll get things normalized and get back on track. You may notice the studio is now a little bit different. Let me kind of go this way, kind of pan over. I have a new addition to the studio, which is my 432 hertz singing bowl set. That came during the month of December. I've got it all set up. Got to get some pads for the table down here though, so I can just slide. And what I'll be doing is I'll be sliding that out and doing live shows on TikTok and Clubhouse and my Insight Timer, and of course my spiritual development group. So I'm bringing the singing, the sound bath experience to the work that I do. You may notice there's also a red light going on behind me right here because what I did in the studio on my month off. Let's see if it'll switch over. I don't know if it will. It should be on demand. I've switched my lighting to be able to go to different lighting aspects, maybe. Of course, nothing wants to work when there's green. All right, there we go. All right, they both green. Okay, so we're gonna go green for holiday, green for the heart chakra, and then now you can't really tell, but at night you'll be able to tell because I'm going to be doing some more night shows. And let me see if it'll go to just a different color here real quick. Red. Okay, that went to red. There's 2 remotes here, but what I did is I updated. There we go. I updated the room to be able to change colors, and so it can actually switch colors in my studio. Now it's daylight here in Seattle. But that's what's going to be different in 2022 is bringing light and sound here to my studio and the work that I do. And I just want to say thank you so much for the followers on TikTok. I'm going to switch back to white because I had to get over 1,000 followers on TikTok to be able to do live shows. And over the month of being off, almost up to 3,500 followers. So that's really cool. Thank you so much for following me over on TikTok. I'm going to be doing more shows on TikTok, Instagram, Clubhouse, YouTube. Obviously, Facebook is, it's got its issues. I don't know what's going on with Zoom and Facebook today. But you just got to roll with it, right? You just get, when you do your own technology, you got to know that technology is always changing. Technology is always updating, keeping up with, it's called Moore's Law. They say every 18 months, technology changes and shifts. And that's just part of the technology game. And because I do my own technology, on my own web design, on my own HTML, I have to be the administrator for all of this stuff. But good morning to my administrative team that's behind the scenes. You guys don't have to really work hard today with the trolls or the bots because we're not going to be doing an after show or a compassion cafe. Like I said, I was going to do a New Year's cafe for us to celebrate and to take some live readings, but we just don't have enough time because of the technology difficulties I ran into this morning. But I have added a new member to my team. So good morning to all of you. Mary Lou, welcome aboard if you're watching. Gabriel, Rosie, Reg, Colleen, thank you so much for being part of the team. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for development group. And it was nice to have the month off. I take the month of December off. I started that about 2 years ago when I was in therapy and counseling, because for years I lived with survivor's guilt during the month of January. For those of you that follow my work, thank you for being a star sender the last few months of last year. If you want to be a star sender, that's posted now on the page. And some of you have been following me for a while, and if you're new to Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, we're here every Monday morning. We start at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so check your local time zone for wherever you're at. But we have people tune in from all around the world to just get an inspirational message for the week, an encouragement, a motivation, a transformation, maybe thinking outside the box, some truth. And it's something I started about 2 years ago, actually 2 or 3 years ago, of doing this, and then my podcast, Inspired Living Radio. And 2 years ago, I started taking the month of December off from everything, day job aside, because I still have my day job. But I took it off from all readings, from radio, from doing anything. It just took the month of December to disconnect so I could reconnect to self, to my pathways, to my to spirit, to my development. I did a fast. I did a 5-day fast and lost 12 pounds, getting ready to do another fasting, which is always awesome for the spiritual journey. And what it did is it helped me prepare for January, which we're in now. Today's January 3rd, 2022, because both of my brothers had passed in the month of January. In fact, Todd's celebration of life is coming up in 2 days, and then Michael at the 23rd of this month. But both brothers, my younger brother and my older brother, had passed in the month of January. And for years, now this has been, years ago. This has been almost 20 some years ago now. But you realize that survivor's guilt is a real deal. It's a real thing. And I just hated the month of January. I felt heavy, and, I watched my nieces and my nephews, and, because my one brother, Todd, left children behind, and I see their struggles and their difficulties. And, you just feel like there's not a lot you can do as an uncle. You try, but, it was just a hard month to get through. And I always said, if I could get through January, I could make it through the rest of the year. And so a couple of years ago, through some hypnotherapy and through some counseling, I have a really awesome counselor, Tom, who helped me through some really difficult times the last few years. The spiritual work and the self-work is not always easy. And he helped me to take the month off. He's like, you can take it off. You're not going to lose. It's not about the money. It's not about connecting. It's about isolation. And you can learn a lot from isolation and fasting. And so that's what it did. And now it worked. And this is my, I guess this will be my third year now, 2022, because I started this in 2019, of coming into January with just a lighter weight on my shoulders, a better focus in who I am and what I do, and just more inspired to show up versus trying to get through the month. If I can get through the month of January, I can make it through the rest of the year. Don't have that focus anymore. It's what we make of it. And I'm going to be writing my next article is coming out, my next newsletter, Soul Adventures, coming out. So you can get all that information at marclainhart.com. All the links, if any of the team is on and they want to share it, it's marclainhart.com. From marclainhart.com, you can get to all my professional, my psychic and spiritual directories, professional, Best American Psychics, Best Psychic Directory, Arrow Spiritual Community. You can get to the link to my Clubhouse. I have a Clubhouse social audio room that I'm going to be doing. TikTok, I'm going to be doing sound baths and meditations on TikTok Live now that I can. Going to be doing my next radio show, which will be next Wednesday, Inspired Living Radio, back for our 7th season. And we're going to be talking about what this year is going to unfold for us from a numerology standpoint. And when I look at the numbers as part of, numerology is a philosophy that dates back as far back as we can measure. About 11,000 years is the philosophy of numerology, and it's based on mathematics and number sequencing and patterns. And I didn't really like math in high school, to be honest with you. I wasn't a very good student when it came to mathematics. But as I got older and I went through the trauma and the tragedy, or the TNT, I refer to it as the TNT that blew up my life and got me changed and looking at life differently. Numerology just seemed to be very interesting to me. The wisdom of it, the philosophy of it, the unknown of it, the communication and the wisdom of it. We use mathematics in almost everything we do, from technology to space exploration. They say that mathematics will probably be the universal communication for when we realize we're not alone in the universe. And numerology from this year, 2022, and I'll be talking more on my podcast and my article coming out. The 20s, like I said, if you followed my work, you know that a couple years ago I started talking about the Roaring 20s, and the Roaring 20s. I knew that it was going to be pretty transformative with this pandemic, politics, the world. There's a lot of people that are suffering right now from a mental health crisis to loss of people from this horrible pandemic. I just watched a professional football player yesterday take off his clothes and walk off in the third quarter of a game, a nationally televised game. Literally just lost, you're just watching like, what is this guy doing? And you're seeing a lot of struggles out in society. And I knew that that's what the 20s were going to be for us. Just like it was the 20s 100 years ago, that was also a pandemic, the great influenza flu that killed 20 to 50 million people. We learned a lot from that pandemic, and society shifted from that. And I said that the same thing would happen in our Roaring 20s with this pandemic, with the science behind it, with the social psychology aspects of it. And the words that came to my mind during the Roaring 20s were self-mastery, sustainability, homeostasis, the great coming together. I still see that taking place in 2022 because the 22 is based on what's called a master number. So if we were to break this down real quick, the 20s, 20 of 2022, 20 represents opposing forces, 2 and 0. And the base of when we kicked off in 2020, I think a lot of you would agree it was a pretty messed up year, and it will remain significant of opposing forces through 2099 until we switch to 21. But what'll happen is it carries the opposition of the 2 with contending forces to challenge the status quo, to find common ground. And we see that from the Supreme Court to the politics. I don't get into politics here. I'm an independent constitutionalist because I've found that political factions just tear, especially now, tear people apart and tear things down. But we're going through this because awareness and change is going to bring the great transformation, the great coming together. And that's part of the 20, the 20, the opposing forces, to try to reach common ground. And the higher spiritual message of the 20s is that we're in this together. And that's why I keep calling this the great coming together, because something is going to trigger, something's going to alter to bring us together. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I don't know if that's a world event, if that's the glacier or the Antarctic shelf collapsing and bringing forth, rise of oceans. I do see that happening. Is it the James Webb Telescope that's out in space right now getting ready to let us know if we're not alone in the universe, which we know that we're not. Pretty arrogant to think that we are. Some sort of national event like a super volcano or a huge earthquake, that's going to be just part of the planet, right? That's been going on for thousands of years. It's nothing new. We just have technology and social media to record all the events as they're taking place. But it's gonna, it's the 20 of this decade, the Roaring 20s, is bringing people together from a spiritual standpoint, knowing that we're in this together and not so separate. Now that's the 20s. Now the 22 is a master number, and the 22 is what we call the master builder. So this year is also known as a year of hope, and the master builder number. So there's 3 2s in 2022, and the 3 2s. The vibration of the 2, it's a vibration of duality. It's a vibration of balance, adaptability, faith, trust, cooperation, diplomacy, accountability. That's what 2022 is going to unfold for us. It's the year of hope. We're still going to have pandemic. We're still going to have COVID. We're still going to have variants. We're going to still have the conversations and the debates and the sycophancy and the emperor's new clothes on social media of vaccinations versus anti-vaccinations, mask versus anti-mask. politics for this party, politics for that party. That's still going to take place. That's not going away. It's actually going to ramp up and increase, where I talked about either a national divorce of states separating from the union in the United States, a war generated between countries, and that you're seeing that build up right now, possibly a cold civil war. And what I mean by a cold civil war is this country's already gone through civil war, and I think people don't want to have conflict where it's violence, but they want to have compromise. But other people do not, and we see that building right now. So whether the United States experiences another civil war, but a cold civil war where states just do their own things, that wouldn't surprise me, because we see it, and social media has created that environment now. But dealing with our technologies as a species, we're going through this vast technology shift, and can we keep up with the shift? Can we keep up with the technology changes? That'll be a question that we'll have to decide as a species. And maybe some regulations about the information that's out there, because there's so much information out there in the social media world, and the television world, and the news cycle world. And maybe we get back to 2022 being that accountability, to where you have what is being told on social media or the news. Fairness Doctrine Act of 1949, when television came into homes. I see something of that nature with social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you're already starting to see that, where you're starting to get fact checkers, and I've even been guilty of having posts not be consistently factual with their information, misquoting or misinformation or disinformation. But in 2022, because there's 3 twos in the numerology aspect, it represents hope, it represents love, it represents partnership, it represents family, it represents peace. The number 2 itself is a number of peace. And, we're going to have the 0 in the 2022. It corresponds to openness, spiritual openness and growth, oneness, wholeness, continuing cycles of flow, and the balance of new opportunities. We're seeing that openness with different philosophies on ideologies, sexuality, equality, race. There's a lot of things that are unfolding that we've seen in the last 2 years. And I know a lot of us are tired, but I have to say that 2022 is a year of hope, and it's going to be still great transformations, but there's going to be some responsibility coming into the limelight, some accountability coming into the limelight, and it's a master builder. So we've, over the last 2 years, have torn down a lot of our thinking, our ideologies, our beliefs about this pandemic. If you go back and look at pandemics, they teach us that society changes. We're seeing that from the Great Resignation to equal pay, to equality, to acceptance of different, people's different, not only what they believe or how they look, but who they love. We've seen a lot of battles in the courts of law and the rule of law. So it's, that's going to continue through our roaring 20s. And the last 2 years is building us up for the year of hope. And I think there's going to be some eureka moments. For those of you that follow my work, that I've long talked about little green men, aliens, full disclosure. And it was interesting because NASA just hired 24 theologians as a board to converse and debate about, if we already know there's life out there, but if the James Webb Telescope that has been officially launched in late December is now unfolding to give us a view of the universe in great detail. And what would that mean if we did discover another planet with, maybe there's another, Seattle on another planet with another Mark? Wouldn't that be life-changing, change everything that we think about life? That's going to happen in our roaring 20s. That information is already starting. I call it the drip, drip, drip. It's already coming out. NASA has hired 24 theologians to discuss what happens if we do discover. What does that mean for society, psychology, science, religion, technology, travel? That all changes. That's going to unfold. For those of us that see as futurists or seers, we see a lot of things coming. Like I said, I still see a national divorce of certain states here in the United States, or a cold civil war. I see technology continuing to advance. I see regulations of the technology and what's truthful information, factual information, because social media is responsible for creating a parallel universe of people that don't believe that pandemic is real, believe the earth is flat, don't believe in science, don't believe scientists, and then you have the alternative. And it's tiring. It's just, it's painful. for me to watch, because there's just so much ignorance and sycophancy and the emperor's new clothes, and it's tiring, but it's going to get better. And for those of you that are struggling, take it one day at a time. I have a phone number that I always point out, because I know the holidays are over and it's always a tough time. The Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Learn the warning signs. 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-8255. I promote this. It's a lifeline. It's free. It's confidential. It's always available. I donate to these guys. Help a loved one. Help a friend. Help yourself. I heard of somebody committing suicide that that I know, and that's always tough. And what we're going through, just to kind of close out before I get ready for my reading here. No after show today, but I will be back, and I'll be doing some TikTok. So follow me on TikTok or my YouTube channel. Just go to marclainhart.com, because I'm going to be doing more on Clubhouse, TikTok, and YouTube. Still carry the show here, and then of course my internet radio show. I'll be on next week, which will be the 12th of January, for another season of Inspired Living Radio, where we'll be talking more about in detail of numerology. 2022 is the year of hope, and it's the Master Builder year. So make sure to follow me there if you want to connect with the reading, book a reading. I'm booking out now into February. You can go do that at marclainhart.com. It's all automated, online calendar, all that good stuff. But I just wanted to finish up with this, because there is a lot going on, and we have to remain hope. I'm not a fear monger, and I don't promote fear, because I believe that fear is false evidence appearing real. But the retired firefighter in me knows too, when you see something, see something, say something. You see a fire alarm, you pull the fire alarm. And we're working towards that in the physical world. In the spiritual world, there's a lot going on for transformation, for awakening. And you don't find that diamond within without pressure, because that pressure creates the diamond, right? No pressure, no diamond. And I always say, if you don't risk it, there's no biscuit. But we're seeing a lot of that in that minutia in society, with just the difference of ideologies and people expressing their opinions and doing it in a way that can be either arrogant or condescending or even bullying. And I think that we're going to start to change. I feel like as we move forward in this decade, that's going to change. And you'll always have people that rally against the system. You'll have people that are always status quo. That's just who we are as humans. But I think we're going to start to have some deeper conversations about who we truly are in 2022, because of what we've gone through, and the people that have transferred into the spirit world from this pandemic. I know that we're approaching, getting to the million people mark here in the United States. I know that we're 5.4 million around the world. That's a lot of people, and I know people are like, COVID, the survival rate's 99%, but that still means that there's still 5.4 million people out there that have passed and have died. And that ripple effect of all those people that are connected. And I experienced it firsthand in my family. So that's transformative. It's painful. That's life. Life is always changing. It is painful, but it's about how you apply and how you want to move forward. And, it really does come down to, I posted this the other day, see if I still have it here. Your problem isn't the problem. Your reaction is the problem. And my mentors taught me that all my problems are relevant. It's how I respond. So moving forward in 2022, think about how you're responding. Think about maybe sometimes not responding, because sometimes your greatest peace and your greatest power is not responding to a post, let's say on social media, or responding negatively to somebody that disagrees with you, because we can disagree and still be friends. We can disagree and agree to disagree on different perspectives, because that's who we are. That's how we build ourselves up, and iron sharpens iron, and we get better. I always say the only thing that I don't compromise on is racism. If there's no that's my red line. For if you're racist, we can't be friends. You can't be a part of my journey. I can't be a part of your journey, because we've seen in past what that does, from historical standards to Hitler in World War II. What it's done here in the United States. But anything else, we can have a civil, objective conversation about and try to reach common ground and not have conflict, but have compromise. And I feel that's what 2022 is going to be. You'll still have violence and conflict, but I think there's more of awareness of people saying, we want something better. And that's what 2022 is going to be, the year of hope, moving forward in the great coming together, sustainability, self-mastery, homeostasis. And again, your problem isn't the problem. Your reaction is the problem. So if you can remember that, that will help you on your journey as we move forward into this new year. So again, my apologies for the technology difficulties and the problems. I'll have that cleaned up for next week. We will have the after show next week. I can't do it this week because I've already booked out with readings. But I now have that on my online calendar switched out. But I also want to just let you know, if you guys are having a rough go, a lot of product that I take, that I sell from Prime My Body, the link is on my website. I use Shield a lot. I use Focus a lot. This is CBG right here, Focus. There you go. And I use Calm because, again, using things that help you, selling lavender love in the local markets here, a little aromatherapy, a little prayer, a little meditation on the mat, a little sound bath. Going to be bringing that all, a little lighting and colors. Going to be bringing that into the Intuitive Prospector page. So make sure to subscribe, hit that like button so you can get notifications when I'm live. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today, enjoying your cup of coffee. Let's make 2022 a kick-ass year for all of us, the year of hope, the master builder. I'll have more coming out in this month with my newsletter, my latest article, and my podcast next week on Inspired Living Radio. That's internet radio. All the links are at marclainhart.com. So just go there to get to Clubhouse, to TikTok, to YouTube, my newsletter, my radio show. We are featured on Spotify, and we were ranked officially top 70 inspirational podcasts out there on the podcasting platforms. We're on all the major podcasting platforms now. And we came in at number 21, I think, our rank 21. So try to get us into the top 10 if we can for 2022. But I appreciate you. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy in mind. Stay healthy in body. I'll see you guys next week for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. And until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and most importantly, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. I'll see you guys either next week over on TikTok or YouTube or over on my podcast. All right. Take care, everybody. Namaste.